At exactly 1930 Moscow time, on the evening of September 21st, 2025, power gathered in silence. This was no ordinary building, not a public resort, not a standard military base. This was the private retreat of Vladimir Putin, the infamous 40th Sanatorium, a fortress disguised as luxury. A sanctuary for Russia's highest-ranking officials, intelligence chiefs, and elite commanders. Behind its closed doors, war plans were drafted, offensives approved, futures decided. That night, crystal glasses clinked. Banquets were served. Conversations were whispered in corners. No one inside knew they had 43 seconds left before history would shatter the room. This strike was not symbolic. It was not random. It was surgical. Ukraine had chosen its target carefully, the nerve center of Russian coordination in occupied Crimea. And the weapon selected was something Russia's vast air defense network had never truly prepared for. Miles away, across the dark surface of the Black Sea, something small moved silently, 16 feet long. Low profile, almost invisible. It didn't look like a weapon of war. It was. The vessel was a Magora V-5, a Ukrainian unmanned surface drone boat. Built from fiberglass, its radar signature was so faint it blended into the waves like a shadow. It moved like a predator stalking prey. But the Magora was not the true danger. Hidden inside its bay were 6 OSA FPV strike drones, compact, precise, lethal. Each just 13 inches long, each carrying a 1.5-pound shaped charge. A shaped charge doesn't explode outward. It focuses inward, compressing its energy into a jet of molten metal. Traveling at extreme velocity. Steel, reinforced concrete, armor plating. None of it matters. The jet slices through like a cutting torch through paper. Small size. Massive destruction. Ukraine's objective was twofold. First, psychological warfare. To send a message. No Russian official, no commander, no intelligence planner is beyond reach. Second, strategic disruption. The 40th Sanatorium wasn't just a luxury retreat. It was used by Russia's security services for covert coordination across Crimea and the Black Sea. Disrupting it meant weakening Moscow's operational grip. And there was another layer. By forcing Russia to redirect Black Sea assets, Ukraine aimed to protect its grain corridor, the economic lifeline keeping exports flowing. This was not revenge. This was calculated pressure. At 1931 local time, just 3 miles from shore, the Magora slowed. Its bay doors opened. One by one, 6 OSA drones slipped into the sea. For 10 seconds, a laser lock guided them. Then, they were alone. They accelerated to 60 miles per hour, skimming so low across the water their frames nearly kissed the spray. They didn't fly straight. They executed a tactic known as the ghost chain. The lead drone released 500 strips of aluminum chaff. On Russian radar screens, the small swarm suddenly appeared as a massive moving object. Dozens of false signatures multiplying across displays. Confusion bloomed. Behind this electronic storm, the real drones hugged the cliffs along the Foros coastline, using terrain as natural radar cover. When they encountered a patrol boat, they popped above the horizon for less than 3 seconds, exposing only 12 feet of flight, then vanished again. They were ghosts. But the sea is never predictable. A sudden 20-knot wind gust slammed into the formation. Drone number 3 took the hit. Its corroded antenna amplified what had been a minor 2.3-degree targeting flaw into a dangerous instability. His screen flickered. The drone wobbled. For a moment, the entire mission balanced on his concentration. He fought the wind. He fought the error. He fought physics. Meanwhile, on the cliffs above, Russian patrols scanned the darkness. A Spetsnaz operator caught a thermal signature racing across the water. He reacted instantly, raising an electronic warfare rifle, a drone-disrupting gun. He fired. The decoy drone dropped in sparks into the sea. "Target neutralized," he radioed confidently. He had destroyed nothing but bait. 30 seconds later, a Pantsir S-1 battery near Yalta activated. Its radar locked onto what appeared to be a single large threat. The system followed automated protocol. Launch authorized. A missile worth millions tore through the sky at Mach 3, chasing nothing more than aluminum foil. In Odessa, the Ukrainian operator allowed himself a faint smile. Russia had just spent a fortune destroying air. And offshore, the Magora drone boat quietly transmitted a new false radar signature, mimicking something even larger. The deception wasn't over. It was only beginning. Russian patrol boats took the bait. They veered away from the real swarm, chasing the phantom signal transmitted by the Magora. In that single moment of misdirection, the path to the 40th Sanatorium was left exposed. Then the sirens began. At 1928 local time, air raid alarms wailed across Sevastopol. From a nearby airfield, a Sukhoi Su-30 roared into the sky, afterburners tearing fire through the night. Built for dominance, speed, altitude, firepower, the Su-30 could outrun and outgun almost anything in its class. But this was not a dogfight. The 60SA drones were not there to duel. They were there to deceive. The swarm split. 2 drones dropped low in the sea clutter, vanishing into radar noise. 3 climbed to 200 feet, forcing Russian systems to track multiple altitude signatures at once. Inside the cockpit, the pilot faced a tactical nightmare. Multiple targets, different elevations, limited engagement window. Impossible to hit them all. Russia escalated. Electronic warfare systems unleashed a powerful jamming blanket across the coastline. In Odessa, Ukrainian operator screens erupted into static. Command links dropped. For a brief second, silence. Then the drones kept flying. They no longer needed radio, internal gyroscopes, pre-programmed vectors, autonomous navigation. They were guided by physics, not signals. Jamming meant nothing. On the cliffs, Spetsnaz units opened fire. Thermal-guided machine guns stitched red tracers across the sky. Nets were launched. 1 drone exploded against the rocks. 4 remained. On the operator's console in Odessa, a countdown flashed. 20 seconds to target. Then Ukraine played its most dangerous card. 1 drone altered its transponder, mimicking civilian IFF codes. On Russian radar, it appeared as a passenger aircraft on a potential collision path with a local school. Commanders froze. Engage and risk international outrage. Hold fire and risk losing the target. That hesitation lasted only seconds. But seconds were all the swarm needed. The remaining 4 drones burst from behind the cliffs. Clear line of sight. The 40th Sanatorium stood illuminated ahead, the private stronghold of Vladimir Putin's inner circle. Offshore, the Magora transmitted a final precision laser pulse, correcting Drone 3's earlier instability. The swarm locked onto the heat signature of the banquet hall. 1930 Moscow time. Final phase. Russian defenses finally understood the deception. A Panzer's 1 battery unleashed its 30mm cannons. Firing thousands of rounds per minute, tracers ripped through the darkness. But the drones did not scatter. They converged. In Odessa, the operator gave the command, Fox 3, release payload. 4 shaped charges detached, each weighing 1.5 pounds, each diving at over 200 miles per hour. The drones veered away. The warheads did not. Impact. The first pierced the armored glass roof, its copper liner collapsing into a jet of molten metal. At nearly 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, slicing through marble floors below. The second tore into the kitchens, rupturing gas lines. A secondary explosion ignited the western wing, hurling debris into the sea. The third struck the vehicle garage, armored transports erupting into pillars of fire. The fourth hit the main event hall directly. The meeting table, the documents, the planners, gone. The blast triggered a localized electromagnetic pulse, disabling nearby radar systems and temporarily blinding the Crimean coast. By dawn, the 40th Sanatorium, a $50 million sanctuary for Russia's elite, was reduced to smoke and shattered stone. The consequences rippled outward. Russian war planning in Crimea stalled. The Black Sea Fleet was forced to reposition, stretching defensive coverage thinner than before. Ukraine's grain corridor expanded by nearly 20%, a lifeline strengthened. In Odessa, the operator reviewed satellite imagery of the destruction. No cheering. No celebration. Just a faint, quiet smile. Because the mission had proven something timeless. Fortresses fall. Not always to overwhelming force, but to precision, to planning, to ingenuity. Ukraine's ghost chain had turned deception into a weapon. And in the end, the empire that looked like granite revealed itself to be something else entirely. A sandcastle, waiting for the tide.